Hello, Hawkeyes. Welcome to Starting Strong at Iowa, an Iowa Challenge podcast series. My name is Sydney Rupp. I am a junior majoring in political science and English with a minor in public policy, and I am on the Orientation Services Executive Team.
And I'm Megan Miskovic. I just graduated with a degree in neuroscience. I am also on the Orientation Services Executive Team. We will be your hosts for the Starting Strong at Iowa and Iowa Challenge podcast series.
This series is designed to help you feel more confident and prepared as you start your journey at the University of Iowa. Over the next 6 episodes, we'll be breaking down the Iowa Challenge, a framework that encourages students to make the most of their time here at Iowa, both inside and outside of the classroom.
Each of our first 5 episodes will focus on one of the 5 pillars of the Iowa Challenge, and in each episode we'll be joined by a guest who can share real experiences and advice from their time at Iowa. Then our 6th and final episode will be a Bringing It All Together conversation about how the Iowa Challenge can help shape your overall Iowa experience.
So whether you're listening to this in the summer, during your first week of class, or even later in the semester, this series is meant to meet you where you are. Today we're kicking things off with the Iowa Challenge pillar, Excel.
When people hear the word Excel, they often think about grades and academics right away. But at Iowa, Excel is bigger than that. It's about building strong habits, asking for help, using resources, and growing into the kind of student and person that you want to be.
To help us talk about Excel today, we're joined by Lydia Pauley. Lydia, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here and talk about Excel today.
We're so excited to have you, Lydia. Before we jump in, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Of course, I'm Lydia Pauley, and I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. I'm a biomedical engineering student on the biocomputational track. I also have a business certificate. It's in entrepreneurial technology. Some of my involvements on campus, I'm a teaching assistant for AI and machine learning, and then my heaviest involvement and my favorite involvement is with Society of Women Engineers, where I am the outgoing president.
Awesome. Thank you, Lydia. To start us off, when you hear the word Excel in the context of the Iowa Challenge, what does that mean to you personally?
Yeah, for sure. So Excel is definitely the one that I feel like most resonates with me out of all of the Iowa Challenge. For me, I think that Excel means that you don't have to be the best in the way that everybody believes you to be. So what I mean by that is when I was in high school, I was very high achieving. I was a valedictorian. I went to math and computer science competitions. I was always feeling the pressure from these advanced classes to do really well. And I don't think this was just a pressure I put on myself, but something I felt just in my social spaces. I felt like everybody was always watching me and that I had to get these perfect scores and always have the right answer whenever I was called on. But once I came to Iowa, I realized that I could redefine what best means to me, and really I could redefine what Excel means. I think Excel means something different to everybody, and to me personally, it means not being afraid to be wrong, learning from some of those failures, but also knowing that it's going to shape my future journey. So a big thing coming to college is everybody always talks about you get to really redefine who you are and find who you are. And I think I've truly found that through academics, and I found a new love for learning here at the University of Iowa that I hadn't felt in the vast majority of my life. In high school, even though I had all these big achievements and I had a great GPA, I never felt the love for learning that I now get with my classes, with my professors, even the teaching assistants who have supported me on this journey. I truly feel like I love the field that I'm in.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I had a tough time redefining myself in those first few months, but now everything fell into place, and I love my academics too.
Yes.
So a lot of students come to Iowa and realize that college academics compared to high school academics or wherever they're coming from are just somehow different. What was your biggest adjustment academically when you started?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like a common answer would be that you have to relearn how to study, and I could totally speak to that. But I wanted to talk about maybe a little bit of a different experience. I think that what's very unique about the University of Iowa is we have such a big focus on community. So one thing that I had to adjust to, which was scary, it felt really weird, but ended up really benefiting me in the long run, was that my peers didn't have to be my competitors anymore, and that everybody here has the chance to excel in their very own way. So when I was relearning that, I think there was a lot of weird feelings, like, who am I when I'm not the perfect scoring person that I was in high school? Or who am I when I'm not top rank? Who am I when I don't get the most prestigious job coming out of college? And I think that pushed me to redefine what my purpose is and really find those classes that I know I'm the best at, and I don't care if anybody else is better at something else. Like, I know my strengths, I know what makes me the best student that I want to be, and I've more so focused towards that. So through all of this, I think the biggest adjustment was that, and one thing I learned from it is that you have to truly find what topics interest you, not be afraid to ask questions, and learn to prioritize what's going to get you to the future that you want, get you those dreams.
I totally agree with finding your purpose at Iowa. So I'm a double major in political science and English, as I mentioned, but English was kind of my way to enjoy my academics as well. I've always enjoyed political science as well, but English was just like my baby. Like, that was like what I loved doing. And when I got here, there's just such a community around your majors, and it's like, these aren't people of competition. These are your friends. These are your people that you're going to learn from as well, because everyone has something to offer to the table. So I totally agree with that as well. Let's talk about practicality. What habits and routines helped you the most when it came to staying organized and succeeding academically?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing that comes to mind is Google Calendar. Find something that works for you, but just having a calendar, a notebook, a planner, something where you keep everything, and maybe if you want, you can color code it like I do. That has helped me in some of my busiest semesters. Yeah, I couldn't recommend that enough. But also something like kind of my own mantra that brings me back to how to be motivated is, what is my priority and what's going to make me the best self? So when I came to the University of Iowa, like I think many people did, I joined every club. And I thought that was going to get me far. I thought that was something that was sustainable. I took every class that I possibly could. Like, I remember one semester I was in 18 semester hours of all engineering courses. And that just was never going to be sustainable to keep doing that. But I thought that's what was right. I thought that's what was going to get me furthest. But I ended up getting really burnt out. And from that, I learned that to stay organized and to truly put the efforts that I wanted to and like my heart into the things that I was really interested in and would get me further, I had to prioritize what was going to be the best use of my time. So I think when you're setting boundaries, like figuring out what you're going to say yes to, what you're going to fit into your schedule, know that your time is so valuable and you only have so much of it at the University of Iowa. I know this is so sappy, but as a senior, like I look back to my time and I don't regret anything, but I do wish I could just go back to my freshman year self and say, pick the one thing that you're really interested in sooner. Like now being with Society of Women Engineers, I feel like it's been so, it doesn't even feel like a burden or something I struggle with to organize my time, to go to events, to go to executive meetings, to plan things on the outside, on the back end, because I just want to do it. So when you find those type of things, like they say, like your work doesn't feel like work if you love it. So I think when you find those things and you make school even something where you're truly interested in it, you take those classes that you want to take, there's not that big burden of I need to organize and it's a high stress schedule. I think that's my best advice.
Yeah, definitely. I'll offer another perspective. I also joined a lot of stuff my first year, and it was too much, but I was able to whittle it down because what I thought I was interested in, what I thought I was going to stick all 4 years in, wasn't actually what I ended up really enjoying. So it did work for me personally to try a lot of things in that first year, those first 2 semesters, and then whittle it down, and now I have just those 1 or 2 commitments that I really stick with and I really love. So excelling isn't something you do alone. Have you had mentors in your professors, advisors, or friends who've helped you grow academically or personally as well?
Yeah, for sure. In the College of Engineering, they have this saying where it's be an engineer and something more. And not only do our students and the community, and even I feel like the broader University of Iowa community reflect that each student isn't just a student, but we're all something more outside of the classroom. I truly think the faculty show that. So one of my favorite professors is Professor Saba, and he taught a class, it's a really long name, so I might even mess it up, so don't look it up in UI, but it's Systems, Instrumentation, and Data Acquisition. And it's a very electrical but biomedical engineering mix. So it's like in between, you're playing with circuits, you're like putting the little wires in the motherboard. Super fun. But from that class, he set it up in a way where you had to be in class, you had to take notes, and those notes necessarily didn't set you up for what was happening in the lab. So when you're going into lab and you had to write the report, there was a lot that you had to problem solve and think outside the box on. And I think from that experience, I realized that sometimes support isn't just direct support and like leading you through every single step, but it's almost letting you fail. And I took that with me through so much of my leadership journey too. Like there are some times where if people learn to fail just once, then they know for next time they can be better. They learn from that mistake. And I had to be in that seat. I had to sit there. I had to fail. I had to do bad on a test. I had to do bad in a lab. I had to not be able to figure out what was going wrong with my circuit. I had to fry a couple of motherboards. And I finally realized that that was okay. I didn't have to be perfect the first time. And also what I will say about Professor Saba is that I've always felt like he's cared about me as a person more than the student I was. So I've talked to him about personal advice, and I think there are so many other amazing professors and mentors that would do the same. And then I know it's not in the question, but I think when it was first sent to me, it said like also an organization. So Society of Women Engineers, I was the president. I'm done now. My term is up in April, and it's May now. And I've been with that organization since my freshman year. And it's been a very pivotal piece of my Hawkeye journey because, like, the way I describe it, it's 2 words. I say limitless and legacy. So with those 2 words, limitless, I've always felt like I could achieve whatever I wanted to within that club. Like, leadership didn't just have to end in doing my job, doing my duty. Like, for example, when I was volunteering chair, I didn't just have to plan volunteering events. The leadership team, like the people who came before me, they supported me, as well as the advisors and faculty, in having our first ever engineering formal. And that was something that brought together the entire engineering college. Like, we had 200 people at our first event, and it was just because everybody wanted something to all get together outside of studying. We just wanted something fun to do. So I've always felt limitless. I've always felt like I could do whatever I could dream of. And then also that legacy piece, I think now being on kind of the upper end of leadership, being the president and having to oversee everything, I realized the importance of kind of like what Professor Saba did, letting other people fail, but so that they can build their own legacy and forge their own path. Like, I realized a lot of the leadership that I really like to be in is usually the background stuff. I do stuff like this, like I like to talk about Society of Women Engineers, and I've done other little interviews and stuff, but I think it's really important to know that each person on our team is shining in their own way, and they have their own achievements, and I like to do like the background stuff so that they can put on the most amazing event possible. So yeah, I've just been really inspired by professors and advisors and even the Engage and SOBO team to now continue that legacy they've created and bring it with me wherever I go as like a Hawkeye legacy.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said about failing, because I'm a big believer in if you never fail, how can you grow? Because you can fail and you can change, and that's what's important about failing. You don't have to dwell that you failed, but you have to move forward and understand how you can change from this to be better as well.
Yes.
But yeah, sometimes Excel can sound intimidating, like you have to be perfect all the time. How do you define success now, and how do you stay motivated without burning out?
Yes, for sure. So right back to the same things we've been talking about. I had to redefine what success meant when I came to college, and I honestly think I'm going to keep redefining it in every chapter of my life. So as of right now, I'm a senior, I'm starting a new full-time job, and I'm moving to a big new city by myself, and I think how I'm going to define success is how at peace I feel with myself and how much of a work-life balance I can set. I know in college it's so easy to be go, go, go all the time and always have something to do, and I've loved that about the University of Iowa. Like, there's always something to do in Iowa City. But I think I'm going to start redefining it as how much I get to just sit and relax and enjoy hobbies. How do I stay motivated without burning out? I do think it is that priority piece. So the job that I'm going into, I know that I love it. I interned there last summer, And it's something where when I work there, it really doesn't feel like work because I feel like I'm being the best person I can possibly be, the best engineer, the best worker. I just love what I do. And when you find those type of things, like the same way I felt with Society of Women Engineers, it never feels like work. I think even coming into like talking about Excel, I was trying to imagine how to talk about academics in like a fun way, but I want to talk about it more on that personal way, about breaking those social boundaries and what it means to be a leader, not only in academics, but outside of the classroom. And yeah, there's a lot that comes with that. A lot of people who are very high academic achievers, they tend to be really well-rounded people. Like there's a big stress on just being everything and anything all at once, like to everybody. So I really think it's important that you take the time in college to figure out what's the most important thing to you, or what are the few most important things to you, and really put your heart into those things.
All right, Lydia, we're going to wrap up with a quick lightning round. Short answers only. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go.
Favorite place to study on campus?
Oh, of course, the engineering building, but specifically the rooftop terrace.
Yeah. And then your go-to snack or drink during a long study session.
Recently, I've been loving the day drink coconut lime matcha. It's limited edition, but it's my favorite right now.
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Most underrated resource at Iowa?
Honestly, I'm so biased because I've been in leadership for so long, but I love the Engage office. Like, no matter who is there, I can just go up to them, ask them a question, whether it's about the Society of Women Engineers, about leadership, about SOBO, about anything, and they're always there for me, even on the personal level.
And then one word to describe your first semester at Iowa.
I was really struggling with this one, but I think I would describe my first semester as redefining.
All right, I love it. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your experience, Lydia. I think a lot of students, myself included, will relate to what you talked about today.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest takeaways from today is that excelling doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means showing up, learning what works for you, and being willing to grow.
Thank you for joining us for episode 1 of Starting Strong at Iowa, an Iowa Challenge podcast series. We hope today's conversation helped you understand the Excel pillar and reminded you that you belong here and you are very capable of succeeding at Iowa.
In our next episode, we will be focusing on the stretch pillar of the Iowa Challenge and welcoming a new guest to share their story.
As a reminder, today's content and more can be accessed on Orientation Services' YouTube page, which can be found through our website, newstudents.uiowa.edu. Thank you all for listening to today's podcast with Lydia Pauley. Please join us for our future virtual sessions hosted through Orientation Services at the University of Iowa. Hope to see you there, but until then, on Iowa,
Go Hawks!